On everybody, Tactical Grizzly Bear here. All right, as I said in my update video, I'm going to start talking about subjects again, as in prepping. Okay, one of the videos that I did when I was prepper to grunt was the beginning of prepping. How do you start prepping? So I'm just going to kind of go into how I started prepping. Okay, what did I start with, and what was my end game when it came to that? So when I started prepping, I came up with an acronym. You know, I was in the Marine Corps. Acronyms help out a lot for you to remember stuff. So when I started prepping, I came up with an acronym, and that was basically double triple B. All right? I mean, it's not really an acronym, but it puts it in perspective, okay? W triple B. All right? You can also go whiskey triple Bravo. It doesn't really matter what it is, okay? But what I started off with was water. W, water. All right? And the reason why I started off with water is because it's your most precious resource. I mean, it's the thing that you need the most, no matter which way you look at it. A lot of people think, well, I need a firearm, you know, but the fact of the matter is that you can survive without a firearm, all right, if you're smart about it, all right? So the first thing that you can't survive without is water, because you can go weeks without food. You can go months without seeing anybody, so you won't even need to use a firearm. You know, you can go years without getting sick, but you can only go a couple days without water. So for me, and I do everything by steps. I start at the bottom, and I work my way up to the top. All right, start at the bottom, water, go to the grocery store and buy water. All right, that's the bottom step. Going to the grocery store and just buying it. A little bit of advice, all right? If you go to the grocery store and buy water, the best water to get are the 24 packs of the individual size, or the 20 packs of the individual size water, all right? Because those are shipped on pallets. Those are shipped stacked, all right? These other things like the gallon waters, all right? They're not shipped that exact same way. They're shipped in boxes, and they're 4 in a box, and that helps with the stability of that pallet or that shipment. When you take it home and you attempt to stack gallons on top of each other, well, they start to crush each other, okay, because you're not dispersing the weight properly, all right? These 2-gallon jugs, bad idea. Do not buy the 2-gallon jugs with the little opening on it where you can put the cup under it, okay? Put it down on the side and press this little thing and it pours out, because those collapse on themselves. That was one of the mistakes that I made. I bought all these big giant 2-gallon jugs, all right, thinking, yeah, these are awesome, you know, and I freaking put them all on a line. I didn't even have them stacked on top of each other. I just had one line of these 2-gallon jugs, and because of the way that they're made, the weight of them, they just started collapsing on each other, and then the plastic started breaking, and then water was just splurting out. All right? I mean, it was pretty bad. I had to get rid of a lot of my water because of that, and I had to rethink everything. So advice, if you go to the grocery store to get water, just get those pre-packaged freaking 24 packs of individual waters, all right? Now, I have other water, like in gallon jugs that I've put in a certain place in my house, and those gallon jugs aren't for drinking or cooking or anything else. That's for flushing my toilet, all right? So I've got like maybe 25 to 50 gallons of water that I've just set aside strictly to flush the toilet. Now, the next step. What is the next step? Well, the next step is to get like some sort of renewable water source on your property. So that water source could be a rain catch system, if you know, or digging some sort of well with a hand pump or something to that effect. That would be pretty much up there with the top step of having some sort of self-sustainable water system to where you're not going to run out of water. All right, it'll continue to pump water, or it will continue to give you water throughout the ages, basically. All right. Me personally, I get to that mark that I want to be at, that 3-month mark where I want to be at before I take that next step, and then I have my own little personal shit hit the fan. It's been happening over and over again for the last freaking year or 2 years. Every 3 months, I get, built up to 3 months, and then something happens to where I can't afford groceries, and I start drinking my water. And now, right now, I was up to, a few months ago, I was up to freaking 3 months worth of water, and all of a sudden, I had to drink a lot of that water. Now I have like 1 case of water left, so I've got to build myself back up. I think what I'm going to do, though, is instead of buying all this water, I'm just going to go ahead and jump into that second step and get myself a rain catch system and just have the water freaking be poured in there and just, have that kind of renewable water source. And then the ultimate top step, I would like to, because I do have a well, but I would like to have another well dug with just a manual pump. Now, obviously where I live, my neighbors have a pond. I live less than a mile away from a river. And if you go down the road a quarter of a mile to the cemetery, there is a hand pump with a well dug already. So I don't have to go far for a renewable water source, but I would like to have that self-sustainability on my property. All right, that's my ultimate goal. All right, so there you go. Start off with water. All right. Now, with the WBBB, all right, you don't have to start with water. You can start with bandages. You can start with beans. You can start with bullets. It doesn't matter, okay? It's just what I started off with, and that's the thing that I came up with. So the first B is beans, food, all right? Again, bottom step, go to the grocery store, buy canned food. Me personally, I've got plenty of canned food. I've got, probably about 3 months worth of canned food, 3 months worth of rice and beans and a whole bunch of other stuff that is just around my house that is food related. So I think I'm pretty good on that. I might have to restock up on some things. When you buy these canned foods, don't worry about the expiration date. 2 weeks ago, I pulled out a can of Chef Boyardee. I opened it up, cooked it up, ate it. Didn't even freaking notice that the expiration date was freaking, March of 2012. It was literally 2 years old. 2 years past its expiration date. It tasted just fine. It was all good. All right. The rule of thumb with that is as long as it's still sealed and it's not bulging and you don't hear air being sucked in if you kind of press on it or anything, if there's a full seal on it, these canned foods will last a lifetime for the most part, all right? Well, they found shipwrecks with canned food on them, and freaking it was over 100 years old, and they opened up the canned food, and they found out it still had like 80% or 70% of the nutritional value to it. It still tasted okay, and it was still perfectly edible. So, buying canned food, it will store for a very long time. The reason why they put that expiration date on it is because they want you to come back to the grocery store and buy more canned food. That's how they stay in business. All right? So that's the bottom step is just go to the grocery store and buy the food that you think you need. The next step up, I would believe, would be these 25-year shelf life, shelf-stable foods that come in the buckets. They're about $100 each, and I mean, they got a 25-year shelf life, so you get a stockpile of that, and you'll be good to go. Now, the top tier here, okay, I mean, the top step would be self-sustainability. It would be having your own garden, okay? It would be being able to hunt, okay? And actually use that animal for your food. It'd be able to dehydrate and turn that beef into jerky, okay, and preserve it. All right, canning, stuff like that, stuff that keeps you self-sustainable. All right, to where you don't have to go out and buy it. It's stuff that the earth gives to you itself. that is the top tier. Again, with water, it's rainwater. It's digging down to a well. It's using the earth to provide for you. All right, so that's the top for me. That's my opinion. And you don't have to start at the very bottom. If you want to start with freaking getting those buckets, get them. All right. If you want to start with just digging a garden and freaking, and freaking being self-sustainable, then do it. All right. You don't have to start at the bottom, but the point of the whole where to start, okay, is the actual water, beans, bullets, and bandages. All right. Where you start on that step ladder to them, that's totally up to you. If you have enough money, do whatever you want. All right. Now, bullets. All right. Obviously, that goes with ammunition and firearms. Now, me personally, all right, these are the firearms that I would definitely have, okay? It doesn't matter if you already have a full collection of firearms, and it doesn't matter if you've never had a firearm in your life, okay? If you're prepping for the shit hit the fan, it'd be good to have these firearms. First, a handgun, whether that's a revolver or a Glock or whatever, okay? Pick a handgun, get that handgun, and get the ammunition for it, all right? How much ammunition do you need? Enough. I'm not going to give you a number. You need enough ammunition for you. So whether that's 1,000 rounds or whether that's 2,000 rounds or 1,000,000 rounds, that's something that you have to come up with, all right? But buy a handgun, all right? Next one is a hunting rifle. And that could be a .22 rifle, that could be a 30-06. Doesn't matter, as long as you have a hunting rifle. I would get a scope to it, I would dial in that scope, I would shoot it, bolt action, magazine fed, doesn't matter, all right? The next firearm that I would definitely have in my collection is a shotgun, all right? And again, doesn't matter if it's a single-shot shotgun, doesn't matter if it's a double-barrel shotgun, doesn't matter if it's a 20 gauge, 12 gauge, whatever you feel like getting, I would have a shotgun. Again, ammunition, get enough for you. Get enough that you think that you're going to be safe with. And finally, a battle rifle. That is AK-47. That is M1A. That's freaking, what I say, AK-47 already, so AR-15. All right, that's a Mini 14, whatever it may be, okay? You get that ammunition, get enough to where you feel comfortable with the ammunition, all right? This is the minimum of what firearms I would have in my house if I were prepping for shit hit the fan, all right? If you got a hell of a lot more than that, great. All right, but I would not have any less than those 4 firearms, okay? Now, bandages. Well, bandages is anything medical, okay? So, that's alcohol, that's gauze, that's cotton balls, all right? That's Q-tips, that's freaking prescription medication, that's over-the-counter medication, all right? Any kind of health issues that you had in the past and anything that may help that health issue, I would get. Me personally, true story, I get gout every once in a while. I don't know why. It just started freaking 2 years ago. Maybe because I gained so much weight. All right, my body can't freaking process the uric acid out or whatever it may be. All right, but I had a hell of a time. Okay, for the first year that I had gout, I would get gout every 3 months. And it would stop me. It would freaking stop me in my tracks. I couldn't walk. I couldn't freaking go anywhere. I couldn't work. I couldn't do anything. And it would last anywhere from 3 days to 6 days. And sometimes it would start off in my foot. It would last 3 days in my foot and then get better. And I think, all right, good, I can go back to work. And then, bam, it hits me in the knee. Almost immediately afterwards. I had a hard problem with this, all right? Well, through trial and error of trying freaking home remedies and everything else, I added this to my preps. And the reason why is because vitamin C breaks down uric acid. I chalked it up to I had some sort of vitamin C deficiency, because ever since I started taking this, ever since I started putting this in my diet, I haven't had one single problem with gout. And if I do get gout, like I start, what happens is it start hurting and I start limping, I immediately get some water. I immediately start taking this maybe twice a day. All right, I take it in the morning time. I take it before I go to bed, and it doesn't stop me. I may limp for maybe a day, but it immediately goes away. This is like the greatest freaking cure that has ever happened to me, and all it is vitamin C. Okay, so I put this stuff into my preps. Okay, again, you have to think about what you have come down with in the past. I mean, you have to be ready for the flu, okay? When the shit hits the fan, disease is going to run rampant, okay? You're going to have problems, all right? So you need to make sure that you have, freaking painkillers. You need to make sure that you have, freaking cold medication. And stuff like that. If you're a natural kind of person, get tea, get freaking, honey and stuff like that, and make sure that you have those in your preps. That's all part of the medical part of preps, not just bandages and alcohol, all right? Now, is there a step with that? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess, actually getting some sort of EMT or nursing training, that would probably help you out a whole lot when it comes to medical, all right, what to do in certain situations and stuff like that. But for me, again, the bottom is just going to the store and buying all this stuff, or if you have prescription medication, just holding off on taking all of that prescription medication, all right, that way you have extra if the shit ever hits the fan. All right, so there you go, all right? Water, beans, bullets, and bandages. That's the very beginning, the very basics of prepping, all right, as far as I'm concerned, all right? So there you go. I know it's a long video. Appreciate you staying with me and hearing me out. I'm Tactical Grizzly Bear. I'm out.